Hello everyone, it's Arenthio here again. My audio quality probably isn't as good as it usually is since I don't have the cord to my mic. I'm not sure where it went, but I thought it might be interesting to discuss the inflation situation as of late 2022. I think that's relevant. Like, I don't like spending $3 on a can of water. And I'm pretty sure you don't like spending $15 on a Tide Pod container either. And I guess the question that comes to mind is, why do we have this inflation crisis in the first place? I think our inflation crisis is largely due to geopolitics, but also due to things like COVID. Before we discuss inflation in 2022, I think it's important to discuss what inflation is generally. Inflation is basically the decline of a currency relative to the amount of goods and services. A currency doesn't just have to be devalued by printing more of it, but also can be due to not making as many goods and services. A really good example might be if we had 8 plastic pink elephants and 8 Robux to match them. It would be a 1-to-1 conversion, right? You could buy 1 elephant with 1 Robux. When people think of inflation, they usually think of printing monies, right? So instead of 8 Robux, maybe there's 16 Robux. And in that situation, it would be 2 Robux per elephant, right? And what's interesting is you can flip it around, right? Maybe we still have 8 Robux, but maybe we half the amount of elephants from 8 to 4. And in that situation, it would still be double the price, right? 2 Robux for 1 elephant. We don't print any Robux, yet the price of the elephants go up. This kind of dovetails into the argument of energy being a big factor in the inflation crisis, right? And I think our general oil situation is kind of like how inflation can happen regardless of us like printing more or not. In this chart, around 2019, obviously oil prices dropped since no one was consuming anything, since people didn't have any money. And generally consumption was disincentivized, right? Like, people were just inside playing games or something. The tourism sector died because everyone was in quarantine and everyone was unemployed, so they didn't have any money to spend. Then I would say around late 2022, it got even worse since no one was able to use Russian oil, right, since that was sanctioned. And not only that, a lot of OPEC countries just didn't really release as much oil into the economy since it was profitable. I think some media outlets talked about it like less than a month ago. And since the price of goods and services are linked to how much oil generally costs, that just made everything in general cost more. It's more expensive to produce goods and services, so there's less of it relative to the amount of currency. Just like there are less pink elephants relative to the amount of Robux, there's less oil relative to the amount of dollars. There doesn't seem to be a huge change in how fast money is being printed, but inflation is still a thing. And anyway, that's sort of my update on the inflation situation.